Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. I have a bit of a cold, but we want to talk about minimalism today because it has been 6 years since I started living a minimalist life. And over these years, I have learned more and more about minimalism. My minimalist lifestyle has evolved. I have decluttered my whole life, and today I want to share some of the things that I have learned about myself, about minimalism that could be helpful to you as well on your minimalist journey or just trying to live a fulfilling life. But today I also want to talk about some things that have changed in my view when it comes to minimalism, because I realized that just after 6 years, some things are not the same anymore, and I've come to the end of one phase of minimalism, how I went about it and how I experienced it. So when starting to live a minimalist life, I think most of us start with decluttering, or I think decluttering is a very important part. And I think decluttering just really lost its importance in that sense in my life. But another part is growing, and that's like the maintenance of minimalism and the importance of that maintaining character. In the beginning of minimalism, maintaining does really not play a huge role because we've just started decluttering our possessions. But the more we have decluttered, the more we want to maintain what we have already achieved. And I think for maintaining, it's not just about looking at your consumption habits and making sure that you're not bringing more into your life than you have decluttered, because that's like a really important part as well that I'm also talking about in the video I'm linking you up here. But I think the other part is really mindset, or like really how you use minimalism as a habit, as a foundation, as your common sense after a certain amount of time. And naturally, the decluttering part gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you are at a point where you don't have too much stuff anymore. But of course, decluttering will never completely stop. The same way that your mindset and some maintenance and some thought of why you're doing this and how you're doing this and what you're going for is already important in the beginning. I think I'm at a point where I only use decluttering to pivot and adjust the things that I own, not to actually have less and less and become more of a minimalist, but just for making sure that the things that I own are actually important for what I need right now. But the question is, of course, what's happening next? How does it continue when I'm at the bottom of the decluttering line, when it's not gonna get less? And for a little while, I was unsure myself if what I'm living, this lifestyle, can still be called minimalism, if decluttering is so unimportant now. And because I don't feel like I'm actively pursuing minimalism anymore in my day-to-day life. And yes, the label minimalism may become obsolete. It doesn't matter if I call myself a minimalist, an essentialist, an intentional consumer, or whatever I like, but I still think these thoughts can contribute to a good discussion about minimalism. So let's call it minimalism for now. And even though decluttering itself doesn't really play a huge role in my life anymore, there are things that I've learned from decluttering that are now super important. And I've talked about it before, but since I think it is really important, here it is again. And it is authenticity and honesty. I think while I now don't really need to declutter that many things anymore and don't need to ask myself if something adds value or if I could do without it, it still is really important to consider authenticity and honesty whenever I make decisions about things I own, about things I do, about things I think, and so on, like my complete life kind of. I'm just in a phase and in a place in my life where I don't think it's necessary to always monitor my belongings in a way to make sure that I do not have one extra piece and not one too much. But I think it's okay to experience some joy, to be a bit flexible, to sometimes decide from just my feelings. As long, of course, as it does not lead into overconsumption, as long as it does not lead in me accumulating clutter and having more and more things that do not add value to my life. But after 6 years of practice, I kind of feel like I have a routine. I can trust myself. I can make decisions intentionally, no matter if I always have to explain them to myself rationally, or if I'm just keeping or getting something purely because of my feelings. Because after all, I am not trying to be the most rational minimalist, to explain the best why I have the things I have. I maybe also did that kind of to explain it to you, to make sure that people online can understand my decisions, which is of course not leading to me living my perfect life, but to me trying to over-explain myself on why I keep certain things and let go of others. But I've realized during the past few months that I won't experience the best life by being especially strict, by being the strictest minimalist and following the rules in the best way possible. But I think I will live the most fulfilled life if I keep a balance between these rational thoughts and rational explanations of why I need something, how many of the same item I actually use, for example, when it comes to items in my wardrobe, and also feeling like it feels good, or sometimes also maybe postponing a decision. I think that's something that is really overlooked in minimalism a lot of times. You say that if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. And I totally understand where it's coming from. It can totally make sense if you really want to downsize your belongings. But I already don't have that much. I don't need to own less for the life I'm currently living. So there's no reason why I should make a decision right now. And as soon as something doesn't fit 100%, it doesn't mean that I have to let go of it right now. I think minimalism has taught me a lot and truly made my life better. And now it kind of feels like common sense for me. It just is my reality, and it doesn't feel like a lifestyle that I'm trying to live. It's just what I'm doing, being intentional about the things that are in my life. And I really hope you experience the same, no matter where you are on your minimalist journey. Decluttering might be a huge focus in the beginning, and it is important because when we have too much excess, it's really a good thing to get rid of that, to actually live with the things that add value to our life. After 6 years, I just hope it will continue. I hope I learn more about myself, about the things that I need, about the things that I like doing, and other people and this world. And just thank you so much for being here and watching this video. Now, I do recommend you check out this video right here to learn how to unlock the whole potential of minimalism. And I'll talk a lot more about authenticity and how I think this is just really so important to live a fulfilled life. I hope to see you right there, and for now, goodbye.